So, I'll show you how to do cleanup in Krita. I'm going to just do a quick tutorial on using SHOT-6. So I've already exported PNG sequence here at 1.5 times, so it's 2880 by 1620. I may set up all the files for everyone, so you don't have to do this. Content, background color, if you are doing it, just make sure the background color is white, or just not that grey because it's the same color as the background behind the canvas. So I'll go white, 2880 by 1620, create. So now I can draw in here. If you don't have Krita set up in this format, I would try and copy it. It just seems to be pretty good. I don't really know where else you can put these tools, but anyway, I've got a bunch of custom brushes here as well that I'll share with everyone. They're pretty nice. You can also, there's shortcut keys that I'll put in the document as well. 4 rotates this way, 6 rotates the other way, I think 5 resets the rotation. I found these pretty handy for like drawing curves and stuff. You can just kind of rotate as you go. You get pretty nice lines. And 5 to reset. Also, the eraser is cool. It doesn't actually change to a different tool. It just uses the exact same brush but changes it to eraser, which is nice for, like, you know, if you rub out the end, it's still got a nice edge there. It doesn't like make it really crisp and clean. Cool. So importing PNG sequence, new layer. So I've got all the layers here, and to rename them, you can go up here, hit enter, say sequence. To import that, so you go to your layer here, go file, import animation frames, sending numerical, add images, SHOT-6, PNG, you select them all. Open, source frame, 24 frames. Yep. Okay, and that's just putting them in now. So rename that sequence. The other one did nothing. I will rename this head lines. This one can be head fill. So the sequence is here. Beautiful. What I would do is go through, and every time there's a keyframe in the rough, you can go through and hit F6 on the lines in the fill. So you're basically setting up all your frames here, so that when it comes time, you can just like skip across to new keyframes, so you don't have to worry about it later while you're drawing. I'll just do a little section here. So I've got keyframe shortcut set up. So 0, no, what is it? I don't know why that's not working. I did have them set up. Let me just check. It says shortcuts, keyframe. next keyframe 0, previous keyframe 9. Yes, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so it was because I was on the sequence layer that it was going just frame by frame. I don't know why that's not staying there when I click off it. The pin. So these pins here, basically if you have them turned off, it will only show you the layer that's selected here, plus the ones that are pinned. So if I pin head fill and headlines, because they're pinned, will always show no matter which layer I've got selected. So you can just pin all of them to show them all. The background we don't need pins. So I'll lock that one, put them above. You can't actually change the order of layers here, you've got to do it up here, which is a little bit silly, but fine. So I've got eraser on. Cool. So you can use square brackets to change brush size, just like in Photoshop. Now I will just show you quickly plus and minus zoom in as well. Sequence. I'll change the opacity of that. Here. You can turn the sequence down. On the lines here, I will just draw an eye. I'll show you how the fill works as well. I'm just doing very rough, but you will do better. So, I think, cool, beautiful. You can change the end of the clip, so there's 66 frames here. So I'll go here, 66. Now that should just loop straight away as soon as it gets to the end there. Cool. Now for the fill, I'll make a new layer here called eye fill, and a new layer called pupil fill. You don't have to break it up this much, but I'm just doing it to show you how to color different things on different layers using only one line layer. So the fills will be on different layers if you need them. Now, what you do is you tag your lines with a color here. So I'll make Linework blue, and then with the bucket tool, which is F, you can, where's the better one? HSV. You can basically say here in the bucket tool options which layers it references to fill. So if I'm in the pupil fill here and I fill, it does the whole thing because this layer is blank. I'll make a keyframe, 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 keyframe. So on this one. So it's referencing its own layer because there's nothing selected here. So if I click blue, now it's referencing any layer that's tagged blue, but it will fill on the layer that's selected. So the pupil will be whatever, blue, referencing the blue there, and then I can just fill. And you can see it's a bit cooked with the layers there. Actually, it's not too bad. And so you've actually got the grow setting here, like in Photoshop, where you make a selection and grow or shrink it, so you can do it as you fill. So if that grow is negative, it will take the border and contract it. And if you do a little bit over, like 3 or something, then that'll actually fill past the line. You can feather it as well, but that usually looks a bit wonky. So, for example, I can grow that and feather that, and it'll do that. Which can be cool for some things. You might use it for this, not sure just yet, but feather 0, grow like 2 or 3, I think works pretty well. So that's just on the pupil layer. So I can just don't know why that worked. Go next keyframe, and fill it in. On the I fill, I can do I fill, still referencing blue. Beautiful. Now, one of the cool things about referencing tag layers is if you're doing a shadow pass. So if I have another layer called shadow lines, I can go through and keyframe on those frames. So if I want to do a shadow on the eye, I can just do something like this. Eye's probably a really bad example. And then on the eye fill, so now I'll tag the shadow lines as red. So now when I'm filling the eye, I can use the bucket tool and it will reference blue, which is the normal line layer, and red as well. So it will basically fill anything that's drawn in these 2 layers combined. So now that I've got the shadow lines referenced and the normal shadow reference, I can go straight onto the eye fill layer and just fill that bucket. I don't know why that's not working. Oh, because I filled on the pupil fill the white. I cooked it. Let's pretend I haven't done that. So I fill layer. Fill, so it's referencing blue and red, which is blue is the black line and red is the blue line for shadows. So I can do this and this and this. and then I can turn off the shadow lines, and we've got that. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, I accidentally filled the white on the pupil layer as well. That's why that is not working. But I guess I could put that. On top and cool. Hopefully that makes sense. The referencing on the different layers is cool for highlights and shadows, or even just things where you want to remove the line work, but it's complicated. You can draw on different layers and reference them all for the fill. To create a clipping mask, I may do that in a different tutorial actually. But anyway, that is the main way we're going to be drawing and filling. There may be some manual painting with like a fatter brush, but that's pretty self-explanatory. I guess we could fill with the bucket tool and then paint over the top just to get some texture and clip it to that layer so that you're not going outside the edges. Cool, that's it. Bye bye.